Geek Tank Radio, News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. Today, we're joining you from Monster Island for Godzilla's family reunion. I didn't know the guy had siblings.
He's got a kid.
There's family.
Yeah.
There's a kid running around and all kinds of stuff.
They're going to roast the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man later in the event. So, anyway.
I guess that's the only bad thing about being the only food-related monster.
I'm sorry. I have to step out of the humor behind this because I have giant marshmallows at home, and that's all I'm picturing now. I have to build a Mr. Stay Puft to put on the fire pit. Thanks, Joe.
They got to eat, cut them some slack. Anyway, welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody.
What do you see with use for the graham cracker crust?
Oh, yeah. I'm Joe. I didn't think we'd get any mileage out of that at all. That's pretty good. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my buddies Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our pal Max over there behind the glass. And it's important now. Got a little business to take care of at the top of every show. We want to encourage you to call or text us at the Geek Tank Radio text line. What are we calling this? We need a name for it.
Until we have someone who wants to bid to get the naming rights, we're just going to call it the Nerd Line.
It would sound so much nicer if
it's just on ones.
Yeah, call or text us at the blankety blank business text line. So that's what we're looking for. But anyway, get in touch with us at 901-683-0989 and leave a text or a voice message because later in the show, Brandon, once again, we have another bad geek confession.
Awesome.
And also, we don't want to hear from you just for that. You may want to just leave a voice message of what you think of our show.
Or give us a
suggestion. Try not to swear.
Give us a suggestion on things that you want us to talk.
Oh yeah, those topic.
And don't worry about swearing on the line.
Well, that's true. We can beep it out.
We have an 8-second delay.
Yeah,
because we have a me.
More interaction, and also, of course, go to Geek Tank Radio's Facebook page and check out the action over there. Give us a like, and check out all the past shows. You can go to Spotify. You can go to YouTube. So. There's no reason to miss any of Geek Tank Radio.
Unless you just don't like us.
Well, speaking of that,
Max!
And especially nowadays, because now we are a 2-hour program. For the moment, we are 1 hour on the air from noon to 1 over here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar. And then our second hours are going to be posted digitally. So go to go to geektankradio.com.
That's not always true, though, Joe.
No.
We have been told that, if a spot opens up, they'll just throw that second hour in. Guys, you're going to have to listen to 98.9 all day long.
You just don't know.
You never know when we're going to show up.
But
we're like that relative who's always asking for money. Yeah. We show up when you least expect it.
But being 2 hours is now allowing us to extend the conversation and bring back some of our, gems, like we said, the Bad Geek Confession. Now, we're not going to do this every week, but we have another Conspiracy Nation, and it's mostly because we're reacting to some breaking news that happened this week involving Elon Musk.
Well, you don't even have to make this stuff up. I mean, that's the best part.
No.
This
it writes itself.
Real.
I mean, I don't know how many people realize that Conspiracy Nation is satirical, but
spoiler.
No,
Thanks, Brian.
it's us playing into things that are out there, but
this one's epic.
I dove into this one, man.
This is interplanetary. This one is all sorts of
You
action.
might be right.
Anyway,
I don't say that often.
Away.
Yeah, but Allan has an actual science story because we deal in facts as well, science and technology. He's got a really interesting one about
it plays into the Conspiracy Nation.
Pretty well. And keep an eye out, too, because we have a planetary alignment coming up. We got all sorts of space stuff coming up. But, Brandon, you've got some – this is probably going to be a couple – at least a few segments. We're going to call this our feature discussion. What's going on with Warner Brothers and Discovery? Something big.
The $43 billion merger has been completed. David Zaslav is now in charge of all of Warner Media.
Wow.
And we didn't even know they were dating.
Oh,
is he a
czar?
We
did. But you got to remember.
It didn't look serious.
But, well, I mean, I've been following them in the dirt sheets, so, hey, it's like, But no, dude, they just announced earlier this week that they are planning a complete overhaul of DC Entertainment. And that's not just movies and TV. That's going to include the comics. It's going to include the games, both digital and tabletop.
Wow.
Licensing stuff. Because he has some thoughts that he has shared. And it's kind of interesting, especially for folks like you.
Well, it's going to be, how do they handle it? I normally would be very cynical about something like this if not for movies like The Batman, which, by the way, comes out on HBO Max Monday, right?
Monday. I believe it is the 18th. It drops on HBO Max, and then like a full-on digital release later that week.
Yeah. So if that's an indication of where they're going, I'm pretty stoked.
If you decided that you needed to wait because you couldn't see yourself sitting in a theater for 3 hours to watch a Batman movie, you can now watch it from the comfort of your own lazy boy.
Awesome. So, and I know we have listeners all around the country and really around the world, right, Allan? Because, locally here, we want to just give a big quick shout out to Honey Bunch, the missing wallaby that got washed away here at the Memphis Zoo. He was found. Wait, is it a he or she?
It's a honey bunch.
It's a wallaby.
Honey Bunch was found, swam. I don't know how wallabies even swim.
I was going to say, do you want to get close enough to the wallaby to find out?
And it all happened here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis. It happened on the air with Ditch and Jeff Brightwell. Pretty exciting. So, and we have a little bit more news about News Talk 98.9 when we come back. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio. We'll be right back.
Geek Tank Radio.
Can't be too careful with all those weirdos around.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Oh, yeah, they're all around today. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio.
Thanks to our wattage, they can hear us anywhere. I mean, really.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max behind the glass. And we've got a lot of really rich discussion today. We've got, a Conspiracy Nation coming up. We've got this really huge news about Warner Brothers. That's going to be a very all-encompassing discussion. And we've got another great bad geek confession. But, guys, I was remiss. I forgot to remind people, next week, it's another one of our live broadcasts.
Anything can happen.
In person. I guess we're going to be at the Chevy show at the Memphis International Raceway. And what's fun about this, you guys, is we're going to be doing Tool Talk Radio. They're going to do Motor Mouth Radio and then Geek Tank Radio. I'm thinking, we should overlap. Maybe we can talk about like the which is the best Batmobile with Bud or something like that.
That sounds like sounds like a really fun discussion right there. But we have to thank Ditch and Bud really because
they set it up.
The Motor Mouths, they spearheaded this appearance, and and Bud came in and he was like, "We're gonna bring everybody." It's like, oh.
And when we go somewhere, we always bring nice swag from our sponsors and from Tool Talk and Geek Tank. We always have nice little goodies. And even Allan brings things from darkoakmedia.com. So there's lots of little freebies, and it's apparently a lot of fun. They said even if you're not a huge car enthusiast, there's things for everybody.
There's an ambiance at a race. There's an ambiance at an auto show. Things like that. It's so much fun.
Yeah. So we hope you'll come out and say hello to us there. Check it out.
I always used to go to these things with my grandfather when I was little.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
He would
car shows are awesome.
He's like, we're gonna go to the auto show. It's like, and you complain, but then you get there and you have a blast.
Oh yeah, you don't want to leave. But here too, you can buy things. They have they have a lot. They have displays. They have auctions. They have swap meets and things like that. So if you've got an unusual part that you're looking for your 72 Cutlass convertible.
And honestly, if you're looking for any kind of ideas on how to customize your stuff, these guys they'll be able to give you pretty much anything, any kind of advice you need.
Yeah. So Saturday, April 23rd, the Chevy show.
We can't, but
at Memphis International Raceway. So, all right, guys, it's time to shift gears before we get too out of hand today. Let's talk about science.
Well, I'm watching fingers in the air.
Hail science!
No, we don't.
You gotta give me a little bit of warning there, gentlemen.
I'm watching fingers and hands go everywhere.
Or maybe I just like the eerie suspense of the the silence.
Yeah.
There we go.
Silence.
Yeah.
There we
I
go.
mean, you're the one who has to edit this later, so
Well,
I'm
let's
not
talk.
editing it.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Allan. That was sloppy.
Let's talk about a company called Spin Launch.
That sounds like
that's when you grab
toys.
that's when you grab somebody by their hands and swing them around and throw them in the pool, right?
No, I'm
Yes.
thinking
That's
Yes.
what I thought.
It is.
Spin launch sounds like a lot of
is.
things that happen at a bar when they've had too much. And
Or like a kid's toys. Kids, ages 4 and under.
There
Try
you
the
go.
spin launch.
Yeah.
No, that's Geek Tank. That's
All right,
4
well,
and under.
Spin launch sounds like the name of a Norwegian death metal band.
Let's see how much more mileage we can get out of this name before Alan forgets what he's talking about.
Anyway, Alan, spin launch sounds
I'm
intriguing.
not, because they signed an agreement with NASA of, as they call it, a Space Act Agreement, which means we're going to do something that penetrates space.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
what are we
Hey, hey,
talking
hey.
So they
about?
got to
Hey, hey.
basically get clearance from NASA.
Family show here.
Yeah.
No penetration.
Well, wait till you
So-
hear how this thing works.
Okay.
Okay. They're
This is a private
building-
company, right, Alan?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So Spin Launch has built what is called the Orbital Accelerator system.
Why are you laughing this whole?
Because
It looks like a giant leaf blower.
it looks for all heavens to Betsy like a giant leaf blower. It
Yeah.
really does. I hate to agree with Joe, but it really does.
Yeah.
But what this thing is designed to do is to propel a payload carrying launch vehicle up to 5,000 miles per hour.
Okay. I like that.
It is a rotating carbon fiber arm inside a 300-foot diameter steel vacuum chamber.
Wait a minute. I didn't know it was that big across.
Like, dude, this
What
ain't
would be
small.
that? Wait, when we launch spaceships and stuff, they're not nearly that wide, right? They might be 50 feet across or something,
but
right?
it's not so much across as it is tall, and it's a circle. And what this thing does is you put your payload into the launching arm
Yeah.
like a trebuchet,
Right.
and you fire this thing up, and when it reaches maximum capacity of the speed, it then lets go at just the right moment, firing it out of the chamber and straight up into orbit.
Okay. Now, I've got a checklist of questions. When can I interrupt you? Okay.
Let's just start now.
Okay, Alan, I'm thinking of David and Goliath. He swings around his slingshot. Once it gets to a high velocity, he throws it at Goliath, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's that, whatever. Okay.
Yep.
So
You
is
got
this
it.
the same thing? It has to spin around till it gets up to 5,000 miles an hour. Then
Yes.
Okay, obviously we're not launching people because you couldn't withstand
No,
it.
you would be launching soup.
Okay, Alan, so so they hurl it up there, but then what kind of cargo could withstand this kind of abuse? To me, the spinning would be the worst part.
Let's take the most valuable cargo you could possibly ship into space that would be stable.
Water.
Bingo.
I knew.
It is the weight
I've listened to
of
enough
water.
of your episodes.
Yes,
so,
it is the weight of water. So in this particular instance, we could
You get a big
package
sphere
the
full
water.
of water.
and rev that baby up and chuck the world's largest spitball into space at 5,000
It might even
miles
be
per hour.
carbonated by the time it gets done spinning. You never know.
It's going to
so.
be
Man.
compressed.
Okay, but Alan, so that's the idea. So it spins it launches it up there, but then isn't there a little booster rocket just to help it bust through that last bit of atmosphere that it's got to get through?
Well, depends upon the launch vehicle.
Okay.
Here we're just talking, we could literally take a rock, put it in this thing, and it would fire it at 5,000 miles per hour.
Till it lands in Cleveland. And
we accidentally hit American Samoa.
right. Okay.
Wow.
It's okay. So again, different kinds of launch vehicles could be developed for this. What you're looking at is a really dramatic shift in how to get the heavy stuff into space.
Because once it's in space, moving it is easy. You can move it with, there's no gravity. to fight with.
That's how you get your mining equipment up there.
Right.
This is how you get the supplies, you get all of the stable things that are really heavy into a stationary place in orbit where you can now
Got to catch it. Yeah, we're not just.
You get it up there, it's going to reach a certain orbit, and it's going to sit because it's only going to have so much velocity.
Right.
And
okay.
you don't have to worry about it falling back down.
Then it'll
Not
just
for
sit
a
on
long
top
time.
of the. Okay.
Right, not for a long time. So the idea is, let's say we need water. All right, let's say we're going to do a little asteroid mining.
Okay.
Let's say we're going to do that.
You need a coolant for that drill bit.
Now we're going to need lots and lots of
your miners
an
are gonna get
antifreeze or a water or some stable but very heavy substance that we can't make in space yet. So now we can package it up and we can fire, instead of trying to launch 5 or 6 rockets to get these payloads up there, we can just load this bad boy up 6 times in a row and boom, 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 boom. There they are sitting there nice in a row in orbit, waiting on you to come along and pick them up.
Matt Damon can finally have artificial fertilizer for his potatoes.
Yep.
Potatoes.
Well, I wouldn't want to be over this when this thing fires this bad boy.
So wait, are they testing? Have they? What if? I'm just wondering. Boy, testing this thing is full commitment, because what if it? What if it doesn't work?
There is no in between. Either you're gonna go, or it's not.
And it's launching because don't rockets launch at a slight? I mean, they go up and then they get at an angle, right? So this must launch at an angle, right? It's not going to just go straight up in the air.
Well, it's going to launch according to where you want it. This is going to work on the principle more like a pool ball.
Okay.
All right. When you fire off the cue ball, the trick is to get the cue ball to end up where you want it.
Yeah.
For your next shot.
Okay.
That is going to be how we're going to design the trajectory for these. And where do we want to line up the finished trajectory of what we're firing up there?
Yeah, because
you are correct. It's not a straight shot going straight up.
But since you're normally, when you're playing billiards, you try to put a little English on it so it lands where you want. Since this is about science and space, are we going to go Scotty and put a little Scottish on it?
It's entirely possible.
But you also got to consider the rotation of the Earth. You got to consider, you don't want to hit a satellite with this stuff. There's a lot of things.
I am sure that someone has already built a computer program to get the angles and the trajectory correct, because they wouldn't have talked about hey, we can do this if somebody hadn't come up with the computer program saying they can do it.
Yeah, right. I'm just wondering what powers something. A 300-foot diameter of water. I'm just thinking how much that would weigh.
This isn't the Boring Company. They have a plan.
Yeah, and of course, everybody wants to know, how big is the thing you're throwing into space?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this thing could right now handle about a 400-pound payload.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Well, why is it 300 feet across? Are you talking about the diameter of the whole thing?
You're talking about the whole vacuum area.
Oh, I thought what comes out of the
what comes firing out of this thing is going to be about 400, 500 pounds of payload.
Oh, well, that's tiny then compared
to what you were thinking. Yeah,
I mean, I was thinking something like the size of a school bus.
We're going to keep loading it.
So it's like a bunch of, you're just boom, 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 boom.
This is like having your, Daisy BB gun firing into space.
It's like the reverse of when they parachute in supplies at World War II. All right, well, we're gonna continue this discussion when we come back. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio here on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Geek Tank Radio.
Oh, they're hopeless. A disgrace to the forces of evil.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
That'd be Allan's worst nightmare.
It's like, I'll take a little umbrage with that.
That was somebody from his family reunion.
No kidding. Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max behind the glass. And a quick reminder, make sure you stay in touch with us. We take voice messages and texts at the Geek Tank Radio voice and text line, which I hate the name of. 901.
Would you just call it the nerd line for now?
The nerd line, the phone line.
The bat phone.
It flows so better. No, don't call it the bat phone.
We just need one of our one of the sponsors to come out and
we want
name
Warner Brothers to like us. Yeah.
Get in touch with us at 901-683-0989 for a myriad of reasons. You can send us a bad geek confession. You can give us feedback on the show. You can tell us what you'd like to discuss. Maybe something really cool happened. I am
going to ask that you text in your bad geek confessions only because I want to make sure that I get it right.
Yeah, yeah. And also, Brand. This is interesting because we're going to get to our bad geek confession a little bit later, and it triggered Brandon because when he had a strong reaction, and so people.
I'm going to have to.
Yeah,
I might have to meet this person.
Okay. Anyway, but Alan, before the break, we were talking about this new. What is this system called? It's like a space catapult. They're going to launch cargo into space using a catapult system that goes spin launch. I like the notion of it. I mean, I don't know what it takes to power something like that, but it's kind of a cool concept.
70% less than it takes to get something else into space.
That's awesome. Because think of the rocket fuel that gets burned just to get into, to get out of the atmosphere. So if they can bypass that, that's pretty cool, man. I like the thinking.
It's not just the fuel and everything. It's all of the things that are required to launch a rocket. Just for instance, one of these little fun facts, launching something from NASA just in safety protocols and that kind of stuff involves like 500,000 gallons of water.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's not anything in the ship. That's just the stuff to keep the ship going up. So it's safety protocols and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, lifting. I mean, that's
liftoff is dangerous. So
and when you look at NASA when they were going to the moon and everything, you look at what 95% of the ship either just gets burned up in the atmosphere afterwards. It carries fuel. The only part that comes back is the little capsule.
Is a little bitty piece.
Yeah, if we can avoid wasting that's pretty cool.
I'm glad you said that because somebody else got one of these Space Act agreements, and that would be a name familiar to us. That would be Jeff Bezos.
Oh, that's right, because he retired to get into the space stuff. Right?
He has a company called Blue Origin. And it reached an agreement with NASA because he wants to build, are you ready?
Yeah.
A commercial space station or a business or a space business park.
I don't disagree with him. I think that's the wave of the future.
I'm going to be honest. I'd like to put all corporate parks into space. Just saying. Have you ever tried to drive around one of those things?
Yeah. We've talked about this, though. We've talked about in the past that there's some industries that would actually be better in space in a zero gravity, or if they emit pollution, it's better to kick that stuff out into space than into our ozone.
Or possibly be terraforming Mars into something.
Yeah. Don't get into our
I'm just throwing out there.
Yeah.
This is just common everyday science.
I don't see Bezos doing this as an industrial type park though, Joe. I'm thinking this is where he's going to have corporate headquarters. He's the kind of guy who likes to look down on people.
There you go. And they can meet in secret. Boy, talking about
lack of
secret
transparency.
Plans. Yeah. That's true. Okay.
So again, there are a number. And as I'm flipping through this, there are a lot of companies that have applied for Space Act contracts to be able to operate in the upper atmosphere to space.
Right.
And there's a lot more coming because. Got news for you. They found helium in the Earth's crust, not the Earth's crust, the moon's crust. We're finding water a lot of places. And space tourism is now a thing.
Well, you got me wondering about something, Alan, because in the past you've brought us stories all about the space elevator. Which basically, if you don't know what that is, folks, it's literally, it's like a long cable system that goes out into space. It's an elevator, and it goes past the atmosphere, and it's used. It's linked to the Earth, and it spins, and the rotation of the Earth keeps it up in space. Well, for one thing, building something like that is pretty monumental. It has to be like 400 miles long or something like that. And also, the point of it was to get materials easily into space. Well, the space catapult sounds like it kind of bypasses that whole thing. When it goes wrong, though, I guess is what I'm wondering. What happens when you launch something 5,000 miles an hour and it hits it doesn't make it?
All I can think now, as soon as you said it, I'm not worried about it not making it.
Yeah.
But I can already see 400 pounds of fresh farm eggs hitting Jeff Bezos's corporate park in space.
Wait.
You're going to launch eggs at 5,000 miles an hour? Talk about paste.
Scrambled.
No.
Scrambled.
I'm going to tell you, Joe. I will guarantee you everything that is fired out of that is going to be in a container that will open once it gets into the atmosphere.
Okay.
This just raises a few questions for me. It's like, how can this thing be turned into one of the most destructive space games? Like, for example, in Futurama, they had miniature golf where they, like, hurled a giant golf ball onto, like, a island planet or something like that. So how is someone going to capitalize on making this a space toy?
Well, it already is. Remember the game Asteroids?
Oh, there you go.
This is how you were getting your ammo up there. So
and what happens when the wrong people get their hands on this thing? So
I don't know.
How about Colin Furs, Joe's hero?
Do we want Putin having a thing he can launch 5,000 miles an hour things of water?
I don't want to get too much into actual events, but I'm hoping that by the time this thing's fully manufactured, there ainnt a Putin to worry about.
Yeah, good point.
Just saying.
But I'm just saying. I mean, this is Alan. We're talking about the immediate thing of launching stuff into space. Well, to me, the bigger thing is that they've now got a catapult system that can launch things at 5,000 miles an hour. That's pretty interesting technology. We sort of skipped over that part of it, but
and when you see a picture of this thing, you look at it and you kind of go, I expected it to look more complicated.
Is it electrical?
It really isn't.
What's the fuel source, or is it
Well, I mean, it's obviously an industrial complex fuel source. Translation, you're going to be driving the turbines and the engines and everything, and you're going to have enough power to turn an arm with 500 pounds at the end of it so fast that it releases at 5,000 miles an hour.
Wow.
Which is why the main capacity of the centerpiece is a vacuum, so you don't have air pressure pushing against it until you fire this thing out of there. So, and big gig. Here is the biggest gig to all of this.
Yeah.
All of these are private companies.
Well, that's what's interesting, because he said they have to run this by NASA, who at this point, I mean, to me, it seems like there's also more departments that wouldn't have to go through, like Homeland Safety and I don't know what,
Well, there's an entire process, but NASA pretty much is the final authority, it looks like, from all of this. But there is a very serious process to getting one of these pieces of paper that says you can do this.
You just made me think of something else. If nothing else, Allan is a provocateur of ideas. He makes you think about stuff. Well, Allan, what if this becomes okay? So they launch this stuff. It gets close to the atmosphere. Then there's a little rocket boost that pushes it up. Well, what if they start launching like gliders or things instead of launching into space, what if you need to send a bunch of things to, Japan, something like that, and you want to just save time and you launch it out of this thing? I don't know.
Stay tuned. We'll see what somebody else comes up with. You certainly want a flight path in there of welcome to space moving private.
I like the notion of using just simple things like a flinging something at 5,000 miles an hour to get it somewhere else.
Basically a giant slingshot, for all intents and purposes.
Yay, we're going to play Global Angry Birds.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We're definitely going to have to follow this story.
Joe has such a wonderful way of killing anything that I'm remotely excited about.
I don't know, man.
Because now I see one, he wants to send something to Japan, but unfortunately, it has to go through Dubai. And I mean, when I say through Dubai, I mean through.
I don't know, man. It's not the last we're going to hear of this, but very interesting stuff.
No, because there's going to be a lot more companies.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting with popcorn for the Schadenfreude.
Very first space mining operation.
Yeah, very cool.
It's going to happen soon.
Well, we're going to keep an eye on it here at Geek Tank Radio. But boy, guys, when we come back, we've got this might be an explosive bad geek confession, mainly because Brandon's
You've
head
already
is going to
triggered
explode.
Brandon. We haven't done it yet.
So it's coming at you when we come
the
back.
Crowbar's coming out.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So, and this might become a little Geek Tank Radio tutorial on what we expect of our listeners. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio here at News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Geek Tank Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
News Talk 98.9,
Accurate.
the roar of Memphis.
Pretty spot
This
on.
is-
And now that we've got
this
3
is how
seconds
I-
left in this segment.
This is
so,
how
yeah.
I feel about this.
Anyway, boy, you hit it right on the head, Max. And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max behind the glass.
A little
And-
passive aggressive there.
Yeah, and this
no,
is
I'm aggressive at the moment.
this is just a reminder. We are now a 2-hour show, although it's a little different. We're here, noon to 1 at 98.9 FM, and then of course we're going to go to our second hour is going to be digital. I guess you can go to any of our platforms. Go to SpotifyRadio.com. Go to our Geek Tank Radio Facebook page. Alan links all that stuff up there. I guess he's going to have to be a little quicker about linking up the second hour.
I have to ask you, Alan, have you set up for RSS feeds so that as soon as it's up there, people already have it in their stuff?
Yes.
Cool.
Okay.
Guys,
Yeah.
go to Geek Tank Radio, hit the links, subscribe to the RSS feed. It's so much quicker.
It is. And then you get notifications when it's up, and then plus we hope you'll subscribe and give us a 5-star review because that helps us get out to other listeners. But and also real quick, make sure you get in touch with us through you can call or text at 901-683-0989, and we can even take pictures. Maybe you've got a cool cosplay. Maybe you built your own Batmobile. Maybe you have something
Maybe
you
Joe
want to
will
say.
Joe will get past this point so we can get into the meat of this segment.
Yeah, but anyway.
And my anger.
Okay, here we go. It's time.
I'm going to tell you something about me that only 3 people in my life know. Can I trust you?
Please sit down.
Can I trust you?
Please sit down, Mary. I'm going to tell you everything.
Everyone has secrets. Everyone tells lies.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened with your father.
I've seen things.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Yeah. Okay. So today's choice for Bad Geek Confession is going to be a masterclass in what not to do. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there right now.
I think there's a lot going on with this one.
Now,
Brandon.
I am just because of the fact that this guy's going to take the full brunt of my anger at a PG-13 level because I can't get where I want to be here on broadcast radio.
Yeah, watch.
I will give you a Saturday pass for you and your son. I'm not giving you the full weekend because I don't know if I can put up with you that long.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Well, do we have to give him anything? Does this
I'm
qualify?
going to because I want to see the look on this guy's face when I come at him with the paddle.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
gotcha.
actually going to hit him, but
Okay, gotcha. So
this is, and I'm going to give it away. This is Thomas in Collierville.
okay,
I'm not even going to
He
be
signed
quiet
it.
about it. He signed it, and he
Yeah.
didn't say, "Please don't say my name."
right. Okay.
So I'm hoping you're trolling. I really do. Anyway, dear GTR, I consider myself both a Star Trek and Star Wars fan. However, Star Wars doesn't even make an attempt at being scientifically accurate, and it's really starting to bug me. Example, fiery explosions in the vacuum of space where there is no oxygen. He capitalized where there is no oxygen. He wants the emphasis there. My son is almost at an age where he can start watching this stuff, but honestly, I'm not sure I want him to see it. It's called science fiction for a reason, George Lucas, but I guess you missed that memo. Now, here's the wonderful point.
Yeah.
And I will guarantee you that 97% of the Star Wars fans out there right now just went, it's space opera. It is a science fantasy.
That's a distinction,
Okay,
right?
It is a distinction.
But Star Trek is science fiction,
Star Trek is science fiction and utopia fantasy.
right?
So, what we're gonna do here? All right, dude.
So what was your beef though, Brandon? Because you got really upset with this when you were reading
Well,
it.
my problem is this is not a confession. This is a complaint. Now, I will take your complaints and I'll read them on air all day long, but don't send me a really good, email that looks like I'm fixing to get like a great Bad Geek Confession because that's what I've been asking for.
Right.
That's what wins you prizes.
Yeah.
And ridicule. But this was a complaint. Now, like I said, you give me a good enough complaint that I want to read it on the air, and I will still manage to give you passes to something. I'm not going to give you 3-day pass to MCFC.
Right.
I might get you, find a way to get you like, a cookie recipe from Allan or something like that.
I had a whole different take on this guy, Brandon. I thought he was a troll because that is such a cartoonish response saying Star Wars isn't even scientifically accurate. Well, no kidding.
Like I'm saying, I want it to be a troll.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give a little look behind the curtain. The past couple of days, I've gone online to help research my response to your later episode, Conspiracy Nation Theory.
Right.
And I have learned that these people exist. These pedantic people, they exist, and they have no nuance whatsoever. And you think they're joking, and so you start to joke with them, and then you find out they're deadly serious.
They don't understand sarcasm.
They don't understand sarcasm. And I won't say that these are the people who've grown up in the internet age and don't really talk to people so much as avatars.
Yeah.
I'm going to flash back to whatever movie number one was, whether it's 4, 9, 11, 37,
Star
whatever
Wars.
it was.
Yeah.
It was
1977.
A movie that came out in 1970, something called Star Wars. Right? It wasn't anybody's last hope or whatever. It was just a movie.
Right.
It had a giant Pekingese flying a spaceship.
Yeah.
At that moment.
He was adorable.
At that moment, when you saw the commercial, the word science never crossed your mind.
Oh.
Now, it became a cowboy space opera. It became a lot of things. But I'm having two conflicting thoughts. One was the Inland Revenue Service reporting form in the UK a couple of years after this movie made its debut appearance.
All right.
And roughly 20,000 people. Now, in the UK, you're allowed to ask somebody what their religion is because,
Jedi.
well, they got a state-run...
And Jedi should be tax exempt, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But, they got a state-run religion, and
yeah,
20,000 some odd people put down they were Jedi.
I know.
Let's just start there.
But let's
and then let's go with that whole lightsaber thing. The number of bad cameras catching people doing dumb things with broomsticks at their job.
Oh, dude.
And this has been going on since 1977.
How many people, as soon as you're done with wrapping gifts at Christmas,
A
take
roll
that
of
empty
Christmas
wrapping
paper.
tube and
perfect
just
practice.
immediately perfect practice.
The number of my friends in the SCA from 1978 on that discovered golf tubes.
You know what this reminds me of, actually?
Yeah.
The guy who asks who fills the Batmobile tires with air.
Okay.
And Grant Morrison's answer to that, which I can't repeat on here because it is, again, not a PG-13 answer.
I don't even think that was a bad question. I mean, obviously, Batman would do it. But,
there are
or
people
Alfred.
out there that they don't care that Superman can leap tall buildings in a single bound.
Yeah.
They don't
want to
care
know
about
what happened
that.
to the elastic in his underwear.
They just want to know how the cape doesn't come off when he's flying.
Now, in fairness,
I mean,
if you're a Star Trek fan, I know that they take liberties too, but they at least attempt to make it scientific. So maybe that's the problem. It's like you.
Well, what you've got with Trek is if the science isn't already there, they make it up, and then someone steals that science from them and creates an iPad.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying, but.
I don't think this guy. I think he's trolling us. And folks, hey, if you're out there and you think you can fool Brandon's troll sniffing nose, you got another thing coming on the internet.
I would love, like I said, I would love for this to be a troll.
Okay.
And I would challenge this guy to show up in troll cosplay. I don't care if it's magic troll.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's like a D&D troll. I don't care if it's the troll under the bridge who has various questions so I can keep going by the bridge.
Yeah.
I want to see this guy in troll gear if he's actually trolling. If not, like I said, I'll give him and his son Saturday passes to the MCFC because I still want to see these guys come out and have a good time.
Okay. I don't know. I don't think he should get anything.
That's the thing. You put me in. You gave me chairman. I'm gonna spend all your money.
Okay.
But no, it's guys. If you're gonna give me a bad geek confession, let's get a bad geek confession. This doesn't come across as a confession of anything. This is a worry.
This
is a complaint.
Tweet.
No, it's too many characters to be a tweet.
Okay.
But this does come across as the guy who's asking you the question because he doesn't get it.
Okay.
And I'm hoping you get it. I really do. I hope you've listened to us long enough that you get it.
Okay.
Well, I think Leonard Nimoy summed up the difference between the two of them perfectly with a simple story. He took his daughter shopping one day. This is the birth of cell phones back at the time. So, of course, being a fabulous Hollywood person, what kind of cell phone did he have?
Oh, the flip phone, right?
A Motorola flip phone, of course. And, of course, there are a variety of teenagers following them around the mall, trying to figure out if that's Spock, is it not Spock? Because, he doesn't have pointy ears and a green complexion normally.
Wow.
So he's wandering the mall.
Depends on what
he's
he drank
shopping
the
with the
night
daughter.
before.
And he gets a phone call. And he reaches in his pocket. And I know the instructions told you, do not do this. But how did we all answer our Motorola flip phone? How did we all answer our Motorola flip phone?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We, flipped that baby open. And at that moment,
they knew.
It erupted. He couldn't hear a thing over the phone because this pack of young people fell out completely because they were at the mall and saw Spock answer his communicator.
Right. Exactly. And
Welcome to Star Trek.
It's a beautiful thing.
No one ever cheered when somebody whipped out their lightsaber to get the cat out of the tree.
That's not true. And and I'm sure there are internet stories to prove you wrong. But I want to just remind everybody who thinks that there needs to be more of a realistic, scientific thing about Star Wars.
Okay.
Midichlorians.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You want to go back there?
No.
Midichlorians.
There you go. Drop the mic on that one. So, yeah, give us your good, bad geek confessions at 901-683-0989.
Hit us up.
That's what we want. And don't trigger Brandon because he can't afford
Oh,
to be
do
triggered.
trigger Brandon.
Oh, no,
Do.
trigger me all day long. I have been around enough children that I can keep the swearing down to a broadcast minimum.
Well, actually, it's fine. Actually, it's a little more entertaining when you do trigger Brandon. So maybe that's maybe that's the route to go.
Wake me up, people.
You're just not going to fool them. So, well, guys, the first hour's in the can. So, wow, what a show. And we've still got another hour to go. But until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Allan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
And I'm Brandon Olmstead reminding you, send me the real Geek Confessions so I can complain about them.
Geek Tank Radio, News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
And welcome to Hour 2 of Geek Tank Radio. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max behind the glass. And just a reminder, we want to hear from you during the week. Really, I mean, we store these in the vaults, and we hang on to these calls and these texts, which you can also send pictures. I don't know if you can send video, but you can send them. Send them to our caller and text line at 901-683-0989. We want to hear your bad geek confessions. We want to hear good stories. We want to hear how you think we can improve the show or complaints. We may or may not read them on the air. We don't know. But we want to stay in touch with you guys. So get in touch. Well, we got to jump into this, you guys. I was just looking at our notes. We got a lot of content to get to this hour. Brandon, you were talking about what a monumental merger it's done, right?
Right,
it's finished.
It's done. They've been working on it for a while, and but there hasn't been a whole lot of fanfare about it because,
been quiet.
Unless it involves the mouse, nobody wants to get the mouse or politics. Nobody wants to get involved with anything. Well, we now have Warner Brothers Discovery, which is the new company. The stock's already trading, and it's wow.
Is that what they're calling it? Warner Brothers Discovery?
It is Warner Brothers Discovery.
The Discovery Channel.
Yes, the Discovery Channel and Warner Brothers Entertainment have now
It's a pretty big merger, honestly.
Yeah, well, yeah.
$43
billion merger.
Huh. It's the exact same price as the Twitter bid, right? Wasn't it?
Well, no, that was 42, wasn't it?
Okay.
No,
we'll get to that, but anyway.
It doesn't matter. That's
it's close.
That's for another segment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
hint, hint, coming up on Conspiracy Nation. But Matt, Brandon, this is all, you said comics, movies, and games, among other things.
So let's go ahead and lay it out. Everybody knows what you get when you go for Discovery.
Yeah.
They had their own streaming service, Discovery Plus, with a lot of premium shows that you couldn't get anywhere else. But they dealt mainly in unscripted shows, like the Ghost Hunter shows and
unscripted. Don't make me laugh.
No, that's what you call it, because they can't call it reality TV because it's not real.
Right.
No.
You know, they call it unscripted because what they do is they have it's like with wrestling.
Yeah.
You have a plot line, you have a storyline, but it's up to the people in front of the camera to come up with it almost as an ad lib.
Yeah.
So
it is the Larry David school of network.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Or if you want to look at it from a Fox perspective, it's the lazy, we don't have to spend as much for it.
That's true.
But Discovery does put a lot of good money into their, content.
So that's their bread and butter.
Then you got, what was AT&T Warner, which AT&T Time Warner, that is no longer a thing anymore. AT&T sold the Warner Brothers Entertainment side to Discovery. Discovery, rather than just keep them two separate things, have they've merged the two. Right now, we still have Discovery Plus and HBO Max, but they've already said that they are working towards solidifying the two services. It's not supposed to cost you anymore when they integrate the two together. You're still going to pay your basic, yearly subscription because that's the cheaper way to do it, right?
Are they going to be on one network though, or are they still going to have their own separate? I'm just thinking of when you pull up your Roku.
Right now, it's going to continue to be separate.
Okay,
but it's like when HBO Max became a thing and HBO Go slowly disappeared. Now we probably got to get about 6 to 9 months before the streaming service is fully solidified.
Okay,
but your HBO Max subscription should be given an option. Change it to a Warner Brothers Discovery, which will be both of them.
All right.
Which just basically means they're going to flood you with even more content. If you couldn't keep up before, just imagine what it's like.
There's
now.
already too much content, but,
But David Zaslav, who's been a huge, supporter of the DC brand during this whole thing, he's had nothing but good things to say about the brand in general.
What's
he's
his
a
job?
fan. He is the CEO
of DC.
He's the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery.
Yeah,
He's the new head guy.
Well, there's different people. There's Jeff Johns. There's Jim Lee. I just want to make sure I know who I'm talking about.
Those people don't matter.
Okay.
In this state, those people do not matter.
Okay.
David Zaslav is the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, he was the CEO of Discovery beforehand.
In terms of, does that make him like the Kevin Feige, or does it make him the...
Kevin Feige, as much as we would like to give Kevin Feige is not in charge of hardly anything except for Marvel Studios.
That's what I mean, though.
No. This guy is in charge of every little studio under that brand. And Allan can tell you, he's looking at the list now. There's
a pretty big responsibility.
I'm like,
right.
And you know what? Guy Fieri could appear on Rick and Morty now.
Yeah, that's true.
But you did say that he's a fan of DC Comics.
Right.
Okay, well, that's at least something that we can,
And when we, we'll get more into that when we get into our next segment.
Yeah, because there's a lot to unpack. Because this is encompassing everything. And also, I've got a $1 billion idea for this. Maybe a way to save the comic book industry.
Well, I don't know if you're going to be able to do that, but
I'm going to try.
Hey,
but this is going to be very interesting and something to keep an eye on. And I feel like when these big conglomerations compete, we can benefit from it. When they go, if they want to go to war against Disney, let them. We'll watch the fallout. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio here on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break and then talk a little bit more about the Warner Brothers and Discovery merger.
Geek Tank Radio.
Those guys are dorks.
Yes, but they're my dorks.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
A lot like Max talking about it. Anyway.
It's just nice to know he defends us.
Absolutely. Welcome back to Geek Tank Radio. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max behind the glass here in our second hour, the digital portion of the show. Although, as Brandon rightly pointed out, you never know where this could wind up. Maybe it'll wind up on News Talk 98.9 on a bonus hour or something like that.
You never know.
Can we really call it bonus though?
Oh yeah. Put your head down and get to Anyway, Max just can't wait to get out of here.
He's getting paid for this. Don't pay any attention.
Hey, Brandon, this is big news, and there's a lot to get to, so we really have to be productive.
It's amazing
here.
news, but we're only going to really focus on one segment of it today. And as more information comes in, of course, we'll revisit this. It'll be our entertainment CRISPR.
Yeah, because if we're not I'm focused on the comic book revitalization.
Right,
Brand,
Joe,
Allan's
let
focused on the cooking shows.
Let me go.
So.
All right. So we're not even going to talk about what's going on with Discovery and their content right now.
Okay.
We're not even going to talk a lot about Warner Media. We are going to focus like good nerds on DC Entertainment.
Right.
Now, we've seen how DC Entertainment has been lately. There's a lot of hits. There's a lot of misses. There's a lot of what were you thinking? But it turns out to be a bona fide hit. We're talking to you, Peacemaker. And I mean, we've got TV shows that are spread out amongst various things, like Gotham was on Fox, and then you got the CW DC shows, and then you got the HBO Max DC shows, and none of them connect.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's all over the map.
But what they are talking about with the higher-ups, and David Zaslav talked about this recently to Variety, is that they want to turn DC into its own solidified content vertical, which means complete synergy between movies, TV, comic books, which got Joe's tail wagging, and their gaming department.
So that means like the CW can't just get, hey, we're going to do the Flash, and then they have their own vibe, and then all of a sudden, is that the idea to keep more of a similar feel or something?
It's about interconnectivity.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about necessarily in the Marvel way, because Marvel is introducing their multiverse now. But DC, I mean, we're talking about crisis type stuff. They may be in different locations. They may, the Flash may not be able to show up on Stargirl just because he wants to, just because we want him to.
Right.
But you don't have, you'll be able to understand everything because you're going to get that these are our legendary heroes kind of vibe from everything. Your movies are going to become more of, there's going to be more connectivity to them, even if there's going to be more connectivity to them, even if they do come across as something that's out of left field, like the Joker. Because one of the things that he mentions in the article that he wants to do is, based on what happened with the Joker, he wants to go forth and develop more properties with second build characters. But at the same time, he talks about how characters like Superman have been left to languish basically because, Warner's doesn't know what to do with them. And he wants to get those guys revitalized and back on the screen.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Well, it gives you the chance to play with the universe that you have built. Because you usually have a rich secondary character set up.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't drop any names like The Mandalorian, but
we don't talk about Disney properties during this segment.
Mention that kind of stuff, but I will give Warner this, and this has been just one of these common everyday comic book complaints. A lot of times they waste or they haven't utilized the entire pantheon of their villains and other people.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. What people don't seem to realize is, and this we talked about the CW shows a few minutes ago. Arrow borrowed so many characters from the Batman universe, rather than dive into characters that Green Arrow would have gone up against normally. Now, they had Malcolm Merlin, they had stuff like that, but they relied so much on Ra's al Ghul and the League of Shadows kind of deal. And while, yes, Green Arrows come across them, Black Canaries come across them plenty of times, they're not centralized Green Arrow villains. Green Arrow's villains have been more random throughout his thing, because a lot of what Green Arrow did, especially back in the past, was he fought against the establishment.
Right.
He was the rich kid who came back from being lost on an island and decided, I'm going to do right by people. There's an amazing story with him and Green Lantern called Hard Traveling Heroes, where he shows how the downtrodden, the minority voice and everything like that. And it's a really good story. I would recommend that. But that's one of the things we're fixing to see with DC that we've never seen with Marvel. And that is synergy between the comics and the films.
Yeah, because when you told me this initially, Brandon, my concern was, okay, I hope they're not going to do like the MCU where you have to see 22 movies for one story. But it sounds like this is just more about creating a certain feel. They want DC properties to have a certain feel, and then also when you pick up a comic book, it shouldn't be totally foreign to what you just saw on the big screen. So
I mean, I'm gonna pick on Marvel for a minute. And one of the biggest, easiest ones to pick on about this is Iron Man. You know, people fall in love with Tony Stark on the big screen, and then you go and you try and read a comic, and they've killed Iron Man off for the 15th time and replaced him with someone.
Right.
And we get to meet as Ironheart. We get to see what would happen if Victor Von Doom stepped into the Iron Man role. But people are coming to those comics to see Tony, and when they don't find Tony, it doesn't matter how amazing your new characters are. They're going to walk away because they wanted to read about him.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the connection that mainstream media and comics have never really been able to do. It was the same with the X-Men. Fox starts making X-Men movies, and rather than try and do what's going on necessarily in the movies, X-Men went completely off the rails and hasn't really, I mean, sales-wise it's rebounded, but it's never really gotten back to the stories that, people would have liked that actually kind of correspond with the stories that were in the movies.
Well, Brandon, I got a sort of a question about this because, if this was the late 80s and the early 90s when comics were just booming and everybody was buying comics, there was all sorts of new readership, this would be one discussion. But right now we live in a time when comics, just the industry itself is suffering. The printed media is suffering and things like that. So I wonder, there's more challenges than just.
I'm going to basically kick that theory down the stairs.
Okay, let's hear it.
Like a little old lady that I'm trying to get the inheritance from.
Okay.
That was true like 7 years ago.
Okay.
Comics were floundering. Comics, even in print media with supply chain issues and everything, have sold more in the past 2 years than they did 7 years ago.
Oh, that's interesting.
Comics are actually
they're expensive these days.
Comics are actually on a rebound. Whether you get your digitals, whether you get your floppies, whether you buy graphic novels, the sales on comics are actually up, despite what your comic website dumpster fires are saying. I'm not going to call out any comic website, particularly because they're all bad.
Because Brandon, I don't collect like the comics I collect nowadays are either older or they're things like I had when I was a kid. I don't buy something, I'm out of touch. So I thought they were in trouble.
Well,
but
that's the thing though, is that the with the price increase and with people getting back into reading.
Yeah.
I mean, the digital sales are what's keeping them afloat, really, because you go into your thing, you pop it, it's on your Kindle, it's on your iPad, it's on your whatever, and you don't have to worry about space or buying all the supplies you need to keep your comics safe because they're right there on your device.
Yeah.
But there's still, you look at the comics and you look at the movies, and it's like there's just like this very wide division between the two of them because, I may like Jace Fox as the new Batman in New York and think these are amazing comics that are being printed right now. But a guy who only knows Bruce Wayne as the comics goes and picks up I Am Batman, and he's like, this is not my Batman. He puts it back on the shelf and he walks away.
Right.
Now, they're not going to get rid of these books because they are, great creative outlets for new characters and everything else. But there is going to be a nice feel that, it's like you don't have to go and buy, 40 years of back issues to understand what's going on in a Batman comic because, it kind of stays in its lane.
So are there going to be different like czars that are in charge? I mean, obviously this guy can't do everything.
Well, no. Zaslav right now, he talked with Emma Watts, who was a major person over at Paramount, and I believe she used to be with 20th Century Entertainment, which we all used to know as Fox.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to take the job, but I think she might be helping him just based on the way the article was alluded to find their Kevin Feige. Huh. They're looking for a Kevin Feige that can step in and be like a czar over DC. They're going to find someone who's going to be over like the Harry Potter stuff over here. They want to have people who can take these niche entertainment and turn them into synergistic profits.
I hope they have a committee though, because I mean, not not committee. I mean, what I mean is, I hope they have their own Dave Filoni over there that's creative, and I hope they have their own Jon Favreau.
They've got a good board over there, and a lot of the people who have been kind of problematic with DC Entertainment and Warner Entertainment in general have been stepping down in the past couple of weeks.
Okay, very interesting. I mean, there are going to be a lot of developments out of this. It's going to be. I don't know how long it'll take before we start seeing something.
And I will
maybe 6 months.
guarantee you, we were going to get a ton of people going. You know who should do it? Zack Snyder. You know who should do it? Matt Reeves. We don't want any of those guys doing it.
No,
we
they
don't
need
want
to be
James
making
Gunn.
movies.
We don't want We want directors to direct. If you guys actually love the Snyderverse and want it back, you want Zack to direct. You don't want him to take over as the showrunner. Same with Matt Reeves. Same with James Gunn. You want these guys making the movies while someone else makes the business calls.
Yeah, let the artists be the artists, and let the hopefully they work in harmony. Yeah. But I like the notion that people are fans of the material. So if he's a fan, that's it's hopeful, I guess. Yeah. So I don't know. Well, guys, we're going to turn a corner when we come back, I guess, because this is going to be an ongoing discussion with this as it develops.
Right. This topic is way too big.
Yeah. But when we come back, we have a big. This is even bigger. This is intergalactic. This is involving famous celebrities. This is big, people. Conspiracy Nation. Mm-hmm. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis. We'll be right back.
Geek Tank Radio.
We couldn't even convince you that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Oh, come on. That millionaire playboy, he's too busy socializing at cocktail parties and managing the affairs of the Wayne Foundation.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Yeah, we don't need that guy sending us. We don't need him calling or sending us his bad Geek Confessions. Just, I don't know.
No,
anyway.
I want them. I can get angry at those.
Okay. Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max behind the glass. And real quick, we just want to remind you, get in touch with us. We want to be a lot more interactive with our phone and text line. We want to hear from you about your bad Geek Confessions, if you've got suggestions for the show, or you want to share some of your geek triumphs. Maybe you just bought a Action Comics #1 and you want to send us pictures.
I want pictures of the cosplay that you've worked diligently on so that you can debut it at the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention in November.
Maybe you went to a convention. Send us that stuff at 901-683-9889.
I'm a little selfish that way, though.
Absolutely. And if it's interesting enough, we'll share it. So, well, guys, we've been talking about a lot of things today, but it's time to put on our tinfoil hats and expand our minds and jump in.
The truth is out there.
Fluoride is used by the communists to control our minds.
No, it's not.
Fact. Space does not exist.
Fact. Bears eat beets. Oh, bears. Beets. Battlestar Galactica.
Bears do not... What is going on? What are you doing?
Conspiracy Nation. It really is probably about one of my favorite segments. We're not going to do this every week, folks. However, when news breaks and it's staring you right in the face,
and we haven't got enough duct tape to fix this one.
You have to respond. So
yeah, when news breaks, we talk about it on Tool Talk.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, guys, I'm minding my own business. I like to watch YouTube, and I'm scrolling through, and all of a sudden a video pops up about pyramids in Antarctica.
Right.
Which intrigued me. I'm like, okay. So there's they show these photos, and it could either be a mountain range covered with snow, or it could be a pyramid built by an ancient civilization. Which one do you think I'm going to gravitate towards? Antarctica.
The Fortress of Solitude.
Bingo. There you go, Brandon. So I'm watching that.
It's like Bigfoot photos. They're just nebulous enough.
Well, I hit the video, and funnily enough, it's narrated by William Shatner, and they're talking about this possibility that way back when Antarctica might have been more of a lush. They were doing core samples.
Is this from his Unexplained show?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dude, I love that show.
I wish this was narrated by George Takei so I could say, "Oh my."
So basically, as a part of this discussion, scientists were doing core samples. They unrelated to this, and when they dug of really rich foliage in Antarctica.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Antarctica is also a good source of dinosaur bones.
Which got my wheels turning, and
Makes
I'm like,
you think
okay,
about Pangea, Joe.
yeah. Well, so here we go. So we're basically talking about the north and south poles of a lot of planets. There is even Mars has a polar ice cap up there.
Yes, it does.
There's that's a place where, and then Brandon put a pin in that Fortress of Solitude because you're hitting very close to the mark.
Well, I mean.
So we've got a possibility of an ancient civilization that had lush foliage down there in Antarctica, or did they have a civilization that had a big dome over it, and inside that dome was full of lush foliage and everything? I'm thinking of like Atlantis or something like that, and being under the snow was a perfect place to hide from everybody else and live in peace.
So, Joe, are you suggesting that? Joe, are you suggesting that Antarctica is Atlantis having bobbed back up?
It could be. That's just one part. That's just one. Put that.
Because I'm going to tell you, I don't believe that one.
If this was the murder wall, put that in the top left-hand corner.
Or maybe it's like the prototype to Atlantis.
Right. Exactly. So
that theory goes in the bottom right-hand corner.
Okay. So now in the other,
seeing Khazar in the Savage Land. But go ahead.
Okay. Now let's go to the top right-hand corner of the murder board. We're going to look at in 1981, Voyager. I don't remember if it was Voyager 1 or Voyager 2, flew by Saturn, and they discovered that at the North Pole of Saturn, there is a hexagon shape, which was very odd. I mean, it is a perfect hexagon at the top of Saturn. Yeah. And people, if you don't believe me, just go Google Saturn. You will see.
That's just the Saturnian defense,
Bingo.
Group.
Bingo. It's clearly made by somebody. This is not propaganda out there, is that this is just some naturally occurring storm, and don't you throw any logic or science at me, Alan. I'm just saying.
Nothing is natural.
So clearly we have a man-made structure, or I mean, I shouldn't say man-made. We have some intelligent being built this structure on the North Pole of Mars, which got me thinking, okay, so there's a connection between our Antarctica. People like to set up headquarters at a north and south pole because it's an easy place to hide. Because, like you said, Brandon, with the Fortress of Solitude, that's where Superman goes because he's not going to be bothered by neighbors coming over or anything.
Except penguins.
Nobody's going to mow their lawn next to your Fortress of Solitude if it's in the Antarctic.
Right. Okay, now at the very center of this web, now we have to introduce old Elon Musk. Put him in the center.
I thought he was going to say Edgar Rice Burroughs because he was the one sending people to Mars already.
Lex Luthor.
John Carter of Mars.
Yeah.
Now, before anybody says it, no, Bezos may not have any hair, but Elon is Lex Luthor.
Right. So basically, recently, really recent, like the other day, he said he wants to pay $42 or $43 billion to buy Twitter. Right. Among other things, Elon Musk is a very unusual individual. He sold flamethrowers to people, handheld flamethrowers, as a way to raise money for his boring company.
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
Boring company flamethrowers to get the money to drill giant holes under Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm. He could have sold anything.
I thought he was looking for mole people, and the people with the flamethrowers are the army you send out to the mole people.
I was reminded of the Night of the Lepus.
Well, there's a clear. So put a pin in that. Put these armed Elon Musk enthusiasts in the other corner. Now they're armed with flamethrowers.
The Elonites.
The Elonites.
The Elonites are armed with flamethrowers and cryptocurrency.
Right. And so basically, among other things, has been to colonize Mars. I don't know that he's all hung up on colonizing Mars. I think there's another thing at play here. What he's really interested in doing,
I always thought he just wanted to do it to escape those violations that he keeps getting in trouble for.
Well, maybe, but here's
SEC, right, Allan?
Okay,
it's too early in the morning for me to do initials.
I'm just kind of like
the colonizing Mars is a head fake. The true story broke in 2019 when Elon Musk announced that he thought it would be a great idea to launch nuclear bombs at the polar ice caps of Mars in order to melt the ice caps, set off a greenhouse reaction. And therein is where the heart of this conspiracy lies, you guys.
Tell me that is not reminiscent of Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor in the first Superman movie using nukes to create new
beachfront property.
Right. So here we go. We've got proof right here on our own planet. There are very interesting things there are very interesting things going on in the polar ice caps of our own planet.
Right.
On the North Pole of Saturn. I can test that there is an intergalactic organization utilizing the north and south poles of our solar system for whatever activities they've got going on. And so Elon Musk is either part of this organization and launching the nuclear bombs at the North Pole, at the polar ice caps of Mars, is either an act of heroism. He's either trying to start wiping out these organizations and their headquarters, or it's going to unleash something. And that's really what we need to unpack here.
I don't think you have to worry about heroism. There's no acts of heroism coming out of the Musk, family.
There's just so much of this. You just look at this and go, where? The horrible thing is, we already know that it is a factual statement.
Yeah.
That we have talked about terraforming Mars.
Right.
Yes. We already know in 2015 that Elon went, we could blow some stuff up there and get this kick-started.
Yep.
He's very quick to blow things up or give out flamethrowers.
I don't mean to jump too much into the Kryptonian theory, but I mean, they came to terraform Earth in Man of Steel. What's the first thing that happened? They blew things up.
Yeah,
there you go.
The other flip was, we just talked about a company that's going to be firing things into space at 5,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's like cannons.
Yeah.
This thing, we're about to enter into
going.
Whatever's going on in the North Pole of Saturn, to me, is the key. And if you get out to Mars, it gets you one step closer to that. And I think things are about to really get real. And I think
privatizing Twitter is the perfect way to get your own personal way of
propaganda.
Coordinating.
Yeah.
These attacks.
You need propaganda for any war, and so look for Twitter to become, if he gets a hold of it, to be a pro-Mars colonization propaganda arm. It's coming.
Opposed to what it has been for the last couple of years. Sure.
Which might
actually,
be
you know what? Maybe he should have it now.
I'm just at this point. I'm like going, okay, and
yeah. Anyway, well, we're gonna wrap up this conspiracy, because I think off the air we're gonna consolidate our thoughts and tell you where we think it's going.
We're gonna wait and give it to the people.
Oof.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar, Memphis. We'll be right back.
Geek Tank Radio.
Please, you give me too little credit.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Turn Allan's mic off. Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth, and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, you're going to be really lost, or maybe you won't. I don't know. That's the beauty of digital. Well, actually, this is the digital hour, Brandon. So if they didn't listen from the beginning, I can't help that.
Well, that's on them.
Well, we're in the middle. We're trying to.
We're not sure what we're in the middle of.
We're in the middle of one of my favorite segments, Conspiracy Nation, where we put Allan. We turn off Allan's computer. He's not allowed to use logic or science or reasonable thinking.
Yeah, but he's an author.
Yeah,
he doesn't need those things.
Yep, we put on our tinfoil hats and we open our minds and explore all possibilities. And today's conspiracy, really, it's intergalactic. It revolves around the notion that if you want to do something interesting, people, study the north and south poles of any planet, and especially the planet Saturn, and really even our own planet Earth here. You're going to find secrets, like you might find secrets of pyramids under the ice in Antarctica. You're going to see a hexagon-shaped structure in the North Pole of Saturn, which some people have claimed is a storm. Give me a break. It's some intelligent being made that. That's probably like their version of the Pentagon.
Right. I mean, like I said, it's the Saturnian Defense Ministry.
Yeah. So we've got this intergalactic group. And then, Elon Musk is at the thick of things, because he's been talking about launching a nuclear bomb at the polar ice caps of Mars. He's arming his followers with flamethrowers and things like that. And if you look at Elon Musk, he almost looks a little bit like an alien, doesn't he? So as we move forward in the weeks ahead, okay, good.
Yes, he did have a fundraising deal where you may or may not have been able to purchase a working flamethrower
for like $150.
And it was Brent, did he even make a profit on that?
Yes.
Well,
yes, he did.
It was like $300.
Right,
because,
right.
Then
but
the Boring Company was launched.
The materials to build a flamethrower I can get at a junkyard, Joe.
Yeah, but what is the? I mean, I'm just thinking of the liability insurance alone would have busted that proposition.
That's what the paperwork and the notary is for.
Okay,
you think he doesn't have a notary on his?
And all right, but then we got to the Boring Company, and basically the Boring Company was, as Brandon put it, a really big machine designed to tunnel under L.A.
You ever see the old Ninja Turtle cartoon where they had like that thing that would like drill up from the Technodrome and release the foot soldiers to fight the turtles in New York? He wanted to do that in L.A.
Yeah,
or set up a subterranean headquarters for all of your followers. I mean,
I'm
it's
good
Elon
either
Musk.
way.
He already
I'm good
has
either
that.
way. So,
well,
has
it's called
it been
Twitter.
legitimately discussed blowing stuff up on Mars to kickstart terraforming? Yes.
Yeah,
has it been technically? Has it been factually confirmed? Somebody sold people flamethrowers. Yes. Did we build a big machine that tunnels under stuff? Yeah.
Well.
You start
apparently
connecting
he's
the
still
dots.
building that.
Oh yeah.
Well, he likes to. So you connect the dots, Alan.
He also launched his car into space.
Well, I'm just throwing dots out there. Did he take a Tesla and hurl it into space? Yes, he did.
Okay.
So did he make an offer for $43 million to buy Twitter?
Didn't he also launch a rocket and have it land perfectly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Went up, came back down, landed on the same pad, did the whole thing.
Well,
yeah.
I've got a theory on the Twitter thing, but it's not entertaining. So
okay.
So and then we've got this whole thing about why don't I just go ahead and buy Twitter?
Right. Well, do you have a theory? Because that's what I'm waiting for. Because
I'm just throwing out the facts that we have. Normally, for Conspiracy Nation, it begins with something along the lines of, well, 3 Bigfoots and a lizard man walked in a bar.
Well,
if you draw
where this one started.
If you draw a knife from that alligator's head, do you become Florida Man?
Well, here's my thing. He's unusually preoccupied with fire, destruction, digging big holes, and interplanetary travel. Which to me, is he Lex Luthor? Is he all about destruction, or is he all about building things? That's the question.
Let me throw in one more, because this is also the same guy financing a company to put implants in your brain.
Yes.
Bingo.
But Joe,
there you go.
I've come to this conclusion that you get in less trouble blowing things up and setting them on fire if you're the one who builds them first.
Okay. Oh, good point. So he's up to something. Okay, the big thing is he's up to something. I really think 1981
He's a billionaire white dude on this planet. He's bored.
Wait a minute. What year was he born? How old is Elon Musk? Because I think 1981 triggered this whole thing, because 1981 is when they discovered that man-made, or I should say that an intelligent being, something made on the northern
he was born
pole.
in 71.
71. Yeah. So he's a 2-year-old kid. Here we go. He's a 2-year-old kid. Let's close this out. He's a child prodigy.
Wait.
He's watching the news. He finds this hexagon structure on the North Pole of Saturn. He quickly puts 2 and 2 together and discovers there's an interplanetary cabal, probably militaristic. Who knows what sort of destruction they're set on? Travel to other planets and wipe these guys out. I'm going on record. Elon Musk is a hero. You guys can argue whatever you want. That's my point.
Elon Musk is a guy who bought controlling shares in Twitter to see what it would do to the market.
Yeah.
Saw what it did to the market. Said he was going to join the board. Saw that didn't change the market. Decided instead of joining the board that he would go ahead and make a purchase for it, has driven up the stock, is going to dump his shares at an inflated price and walk away paying the SEC $200,000 fine, and then he's going to use all that profit in order to get to Mars. Now, I'm not saying he's not doing all the creepy, conspiracy things you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying Twitter ain't a part of it.
Okay. All right. So it's not a propaganda arm.
But I will throw in...
No more than it already is.
Yeah.
I forgot. He's also the co-founder of OpenAI.
Uh-huh.
Alan,
I'm just in this list of things. I'm actually buying in with Joe slightly.
I mean, Alan, you're still searching. I mean, Alan, you're still searching for answers. I already gave it. Boom, we just dropped the mic. This guy, it's been his life mission. He's had a focused
I don't
goal.
think that Elon is a hero. But if you look at Lex Luthor in the comics, Lex thought he was a hero protecting Earth from aliens.
Thanos thinks he's a hero. What did Obi-Wan Kenobi say from a certain point of view?
Who cares about Thanos? Elon's not going across the interdimensional thing looking for gems. We're talking about a guy who's doing things that have basically come directly from Superman comics that Lex Luthor has done.
So
he is Lex Luthor.
Well, in our conspiracy efforts, then the next thing to uncover really is what is laying beneath the polar ice caps of Mars, because that's where he seems to have his targets
Superman, because we're going to need him.
Or is this just bravado? Is he trying to send shockwaves through this organization? Because I feel like Saturn is where the main headquarters are, but we don't know.
Well,
I mean, as you said,
he
Alan,
gets to Mars. That's one step closer to Saturn. Saturn.
Beneath the frozen, there's water on Mars. We know that. There could be oceans of water and then frozen over and covered in sand. We don't know what's
machine would work
there.
really good on Mars.
I just hope Elon doesn't get to Uranus.
Oh,
okay. Thanks, Max. Max, we're dealing with important topics here, not dad jokes. So, jeez. But
I don't know where he gets those from.
I can't imagine.
Spends too much time in the production studio with you.
Well, guys, we're going to follow this. As I say, we're not going to do our Conspiracy Nation every week, but when news breaks, we have to react. It's not our fault.
I don't know if we're going to follow this catastrophic beast forward. It might be a regular segment.
It might have to be while this.
Max, we're gonna need Musk music.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah, but anyway, and if you've got thoughts about where this conspiracy is going, get in touch with us at 901-683-0989. You can leave a voicemail or a text message, and even send pictures. And maybe you've got photo evidence under the polar.
I don't know if I would have promoted the nerd line on this segment. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, anyway, let's move it along, you guys. Let's get our closing thoughts.
I'm not just talking about one person. I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about form. I'm talking about content. I'm talking about interrelationships. I'm talking about God, the devil, hell, heaven. Do you understand? Finally!
Max really loves the the rejoinder master.
I think Max needs to switch to decaf.
Hey,
wow.
He's not wrong. We don't skirt any topics here.
Yes, we do.
Well,
politics
and that's true.
Many ticks, blood-sucking insects.
We're all about fun. But guys, I don't even know where to start. I do want to say one thing. As a public service, the Batman comes out on video, or it's coming out on HBO Max. It's reason enough to get that. And if I don't
know how much time we have left, but I have to ask you a very serious question.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the sarcophagus that was found in the ruins of Notre Dame?
I didn't hear about that.
There.
All right.
Okay, well, go ahead. Let's talk about that.
No. That's your homework for this week, so we can talk about it next week.
The sarcophagus.
Because while we don't talk about religion, we do talk about religious artifacts.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so this just was found?
At
least give me some info. So I didn't know about this.
The fire that struck Nostradamus not too long ago.
Nostradamus?
Not Nostradamus. I'm sorry, Notre Dame. Sorry.
Nostradamus. He predicted
it. Okay. There was, of course, the fire a few years ago that caused quite a bit of damage. And there is a massive rebuilding project underway. And for anybody that's never had to do a big renovation, you do about as much damage fixing stuff as you do getting there.
Well, you have to tear down in order to build back up.
And during the tear down, there has now been a really big box. A sarcophagus, if you will.
And it's a...
And they haven't opened it.
No.
Haven't opened it.
No, not yet, but they're planning to.
Yes, they're actually. I'm sitting there going, after the last 3 years, have we not learned?
Isn't there any markings? Well, I mean, it sounds to me like it would have just been a grave. Right?
We opened the big black sarcophagus, and the entire world went to hell.
Yeah.
Maybe opening this one will fix things.
Oh, maybe this is the counterpoint to. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's the ultimate weapon.
Okay, I guess let's look into that.
It's the fifth element.
All right, that could either be a conspiracy or it could be the salvation of what we've been needing.
I mean, this thing was buried down underneath the cathedral.
Okay.
So this is...
It sounds like a grave.
Okay, it's a kaiju.
It was pretty serious. It looks... you see a picture of it. It looks like a sarcophagus.
Okay. All right.
What can I tell
It's
you?
not Quasimodo in there, so it's like, okay.
If it's Quasi, he's a big old boy.
Okay.
This thing was 65 feet underground.
I gotcha. Hey, and also just a reminder.
Didn't want this guy coming back.
I think that's a story for next week. We're definitely going to. Hey, we also want to remind everybody, come check us out at the Chevy show at the Memphis International Raceway next week, Saturday, April 23rd. All the show, Tool Talk Radio is going to broadcast live, Motor Mouths, and Geek Tank Radio. Ironically, the racing show is not going to be live, but they'll have a show for them. So, but guys, it's time to get out of here. I gotta go. I'm exhausted. Wow, my brain hurts. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Allan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
And I am Brendan Olmstead, reminding you to check out all of our content at geektankradio.com.